Archangel Michael says, the truth about why a wife's heart begins to drift away is not simple. It does not happen overnight, it happens in silence, in moments when words are not spoken, in days when love is not expressed. This is the message meant for you, and it arrives with a warning so you can act before it is too late. It begins in small ways that many ignore. A wife does not suddenly wake up one morning and decide to lose attraction. It builds with neglect, with distance, with a fading of emotional presence that quietly eats away at her soul. The heart of a woman longs for connection. When she feels unseen, unheard, or unvalued, her spirit starts shutting down little by little. That is when her eyes look elsewhere, not always for another man, but for the emotional safety and energy she has been craving. This message is urgent because it explains what no one dares to say openly. A wife loses attraction when love becomes routine, when effort disappears, when the man she once admired no longer carries the strength she fell for. And this is not to blame, it is to awaken. Type Amen to get blessing 333. A woman is deeply emotional, and her attraction is tied not only to the body but also to the heart. When she feels like her husband no longer protects her peace, she begins to withdraw emotionally. Attraction dies not in one night, but in thousands of silent nights where affection was missing. It is not just about romance, but about presence. She wants her husband to notice her new dress, to feel her energy when she is tired, to ask her what is wrong when she hides her tears. When these small things are ignored, the bond cracks. The real reasons are not always spoken aloud. Many wives bury their disappointments deep inside until one day they no longer feel what they once felt. Their attraction doesn't disappear, it transforms into indifference. Archangel Michael says, you must understand this now before it is too late. The fire in a marriage needs constant breath, or it will suffocate. When a husband forgets this, the attraction dies slowly like a candle with no oxygen. Type Amen to get blessing 444. A wife loses attraction when her emotional needs are neglected. She doesn't always need gifts, she needs presence, she needs words of reassurance, she needs to feel like her place in his life is secure. Without that, she feels like a stranger inside her own home. Another hidden reason is when respect fades. If a husband dismisses her opinions, mocks her feelings, or acts as if her words carry no weight, she slowly begins to retreat. And retreat brings the loss of attraction. A woman desires to be desired. If her husband stops complimenting her, stops showing interest in her inner and outer beauty, she feels unwanted. And when she feels unwanted, her energy changes. Many men think attraction is only physical, but it is deeply emotional. A woman's attraction grows stronger when she feels safe, when she feels adored, when she feels that her partner sees her as more than just routine. Without this, the marriage begins to fade. Type Amen to get blessing 555. Another reason wives lose attraction is when routine takes over. When the excitement of small surprises is replaced with monotony, her heart grows restless. She longs for moments that remind her of when love was fresh. Communication plays a bigger role than many realize. If the husband no longer speaks with her beyond daily chores and responsibilities, the connection dies. Words are seeds of attraction, and when they are not planted, nothing grows. Attraction also dies when a husband stops growing. A woman admires a man with vision, with strength, with progress. If he becomes stagnant, she feels she is carrying the weight alone. Archangel Michael says, the spirit of attraction is tied to energy. If the husband's energy turns cold, careless, or heavy with stress that he never shares, the wife feels abandoned even while living beside him. That abandonment turns her heart away. Type Amen to get blessing 666. When intimacy becomes mechanical, a wife loses attraction. She wants closeness, passion, tenderness, not routine gestures that feel empty. Without emotional intimacy, physical intimacy cannot survive. She also loses attraction when she no longer feels like a priority. If work, friends, or distractions always come before her, she feels unseen. And when she feels unseen, her heart slowly shuts. Another hidden reason is the weight of unspoken resentments. If past hurts are never healed, they pile up like stones on her chest. Each stone takes away her desire and replaces it with distance. Attraction also fades when the husband forgets to lead with love. A woman desires strength, but she also desires tenderness. Without balance, she feels lost in a marriage that gives her no anchor. Type Amen to get blessing 777. Sometimes it is broken trust. Even small lies can create invisible wounds that kill attraction. Once trust is weakened, her heart grows colder. Financial stress also plays its part. Not because of money itself, but because of the way it is handled. If a husband is careless, a wife feels unsafe, and safety is the root of her attraction. A wife loses attraction when she feels unheard. If she speaks but her husband dismisses her feelings or responds with anger, she feels alone. And loneliness in marriage is the fastest way to kill attraction. Archangel Michael says, "Remember this truth, love is not lost by grand betrayals alone. It is lost in everyday neglect. It is lost in silence. It is lost in the moments when connection could have been chosen, but wasn't." Type Amen to get blessing 888. Archangel Michael says, if you have reached this message, it is because your heart is ready to understand. Many marriages break not because of a single mistake but because of repeated neglect that silently erases love. This warning is for you to see the patterns before they destroy everything. A wife begins to lose attraction when her emotions are left unattended. She may not shout it, she may not complain loudly, but her silence speaks louder than words. If a husband ignores that silence, the distance grows deeper. Another reason lies in how a husband carries himself. A woman is drawn to strength, confidence, and consistency. When those qualities fade, her respect begins to fade too. And when respect weakens, attraction follows. Without respect, even the deepest love feels heavy. A wife wants to feel proud of her husband, but when disappointment becomes the normal feeling, attraction withers. Type Amen to get blessing 999. The energy of effort is powerful. When a husband no longer makes an effort, stops showing care, stops planning little surprises, stops reaching out, the wife feels she is no longer worth it. That belief slowly kills her desire to connect. Many husbands think attraction dies because of age or time, but that is not the truth. Attraction dies because the energy of love is not maintained. It is not about youth, it is about effort. A wife also loses attraction when she feels emotionally drained. If she carries all the responsibilities without support, her heart grows tired. And when the heart is tired, love cannot flow. Neglect of emotional intimacy is one of the greatest killers of attraction. When she feels her husband is only physically present but mentally absent, her spirit starts closing its doors. And once a woman's heart closes, it is very hard to open again. Type Amen to get blessing 1212. Another hidden truth is criticism. Constant negative words, belittling, or making her feel small in the home she helped build destroys her attraction. She wants to feel valued, not judged. When a wife feels criticized more than appreciated, she becomes distant. Her heart longs for validation, but instead receives rejection. Over time, attraction turns into resentment. Jealousy and control also push a wife away. When a husband acts out of insecurity, it creates a prison instead of a partnership. A woman cannot stay attracted in a place where she feels trapped. Archangel Michael says, attraction is not only about passion, it is about freedom. A woman wants to choose her love daily, not be forced into silence. When that choice feels stolen, her attraction disappears. Type Amen to get blessing 1313. Attraction dies when intimacy lacks emotional connection. A wife does not want to be touched without being understood. She needs to feel emotionally seen before she can open herself fully. Unresolved conflicts also leave scars. If every fight ends without peace, her love turns to bitterness. Each argument left hanging steals another piece of her attraction. A wife also begins to lose attraction when she no longer feels admired. She wants to know she is still beautiful in his eyes, still special, still desired. Without that, she feels invisible. Routine can be deadly. When every day feels the same with no spark, no adventure, no laughter, her attraction fades. She begins to wonder where the love she once knew has gone. Type Amen to get blessing 1414. Another painful truth is neglect of self. When a husband stops caring for his body, his health, or his appearance, she notices. Attraction is not only emotional, it is also about energy and care. When he stops pursuing his goals and dreams, she feels he has given up on life. A wife is drawn to growth, to ambition, to a man who inspires her. Without that, her attraction slowly dies. Broken promises also kill attraction. Each time a husband says he will do something but does not follow through, her trust weakens. Trust is the foundation of attraction, and without it, everything collapses. Archangel Michael says, many men wonder why their wives are cold, but the truth is this: her attraction has been dying in silence while no one noticed. This message is not to condemn, but to awaken you before more is lost. Type Amen to get blessing 1515. Archangel Michael says, the pain of a wife losing attraction does not happen in sudden storms, it happens in slow erosion. Day by day, piece by piece, her heart drifts away because she feels unappreciated. This is the silent truth that breaks marriages more than any visible fight. She loses attraction when laughter disappears. In the early days, joy filled the home, but when stress and silence replaced it, she began to feel empty. A woman's heart thrives on joy, and when joy is gone, desire follows. When her husband stops paying attention to the little things, she feels invisible. A new haircut goes unnoticed, a smile is ignored, her efforts in the home are taken for granted. These small wounds grow into large scars. Attraction is not only physical, it is deeply emotional. When she feels cherished, her love blossoms. When she feels forgotten, her love withers. Type Amen to get blessing 1616. One major reason attraction dies is emotional neglect. A wife who feels her husband listens without hearing, speaks without caring, and acts without feeling will slowly harden her heart. She will stop reaching out because she no longer believes he cares. Another hidden truth is when intimacy feels forced. She wants passion that flows naturally, not duty. If she feels used instead of loved, her attraction collapses. A wife also loses attraction when comparison enters the marriage. If a husband compares her to other women, even jokingly, she feels diminished. A woman needs to know she is the only one, not just one of many. When the husband prioritizes everything above her, she begins to question her place. Work, friends, habits, if they all come before her, she feels unloved. That feeling erodes her attraction. Type Amen to get blessing 1717. When a husband stops showing leadership, she feels unprotected. She wants to see him take responsibility, make decisions, and stand strong. Without that, her admiration weakens. Unhealed betrayal also lingers. Even small secrets can create a wall that pushes her away. Once a woman feels deceived, attraction turns into suspicion. When romance disappears, she feels neglected. The flowers, the dates, the surprises may seem small, but they kept her heart alive. Without them, she feels unwanted. Archangel Michael says, never underestimate the power of effort. It is not about wealth or grand gestures, it is about consistent care. Love needs watering, or it will dry up. Type Amen to get blessing 1818. A wife loses attraction when anger becomes normal. Harsh words and cold tones cut deeper than silence. Every insult builds another wall. When her husband dismisses her emotions, she feels unsafe. She begins to hide her feelings, and with each hidden emotion, the distance grows wider. Attraction cannot survive where she feels she must hide. She also loses attraction when intimacy lacks tenderness. A woman desires affection outside the bedroom as much as inside it. Without gentle touches, hugs, and warmth, she feels like nothing more than a duty. Financial irresponsibility is another reason. If the husband wastes resources or creates instability, her sense of safety is shaken. A woman's heart cannot stay attracted where there is no security. Type Amen to get blessing 1919. Another truth is when she feels taken for granted. She cooks, cleans, sacrifices, gives her energy, but if none of it is acknowledged, she feels invisible. That invisibility suffocates her attraction. Criticism and control weaken her heart. A wife wants encouragement, not domination. When she feels controlled, she loses respect, and when respect is lost, attraction dies. When her husband stops pursuing her, she feels abandoned. In the beginning, he chased her with love, but if that pursuit ends, she feels the fire is gone. And when the fire goes out, so does desire. Archangel Michael says, the loss of attraction is not sudden, it is built in silence. It is the quiet pain of being unvalued, unseen, uncherished. This is the message you must hear now. Type Amen to get blessing 2020. Archangel Michael says, many men do not realize the damage until it is too late. By the time a wife has lost attraction, she has already endured countless silent disappointments. This message comes to reveal those hidden truths before the bond is destroyed completely. She loses attraction when her husband becomes emotionally unavailable. If he spends more time on his phone, television, or with friends than speaking to her, she feels secondary. And when a woman feels secondary, she begins to detach. Another silent killer is when appreciation fades. A simple thank you for meals, sacrifices, or support means everything to her heart. Without it, she feels used rather than loved. Her attraction also dies when arguments never end with peace. If fights turn into cold wars with no resolution, she carries that pain inside. Pain that is never healed turns to resentment, and resentment kills desire. Type Amen to get blessing 2121. A woman also loses attraction when her husband ignores her. Emotional language. If she communicates through touch or words of affection, but he responds with indifference, she feels alone. That loneliness steals away the warmth of attraction. She begins to drift when her husband stops sharing his dreams. She wants to feel part of his vision, his partner in growth, but when he shuts her out, she feels disconnected. Disconnection is the enemy of attraction. When her husband loses self-discipline, her respect weakens. If he neglects his responsibilities, his health, or his goals, she feels he is no longer the man she trusted. That feeling drains her admiration. Archangel Michael says, attraction is tied to respect. Without respect, there is no desire. Without desire, there is no bond. Type Amen to get blessing 2222. When a husband stops showing affection, a wife feels starved of love. She does not just want passion, she wants tenderness, holding hands, hugs, eye contact that says, "I see you." Without these, she feels emotionally abandoned. She also loses attraction when he constantly chooses others over her. If friends, co-workers, or even strangers receive more attention, she feels betrayed. Betrayal in the heart creates distance no kiss can close. Another hidden truth is that attraction fades when routine dominates life. If every day feels predictable and lifeless, her spirit longs for excitement. She wants moments that remind her she is still desired. Unhealed trauma within the marriage also poisons her love. If wounds from the past are buried but not healed, they rise again in her silence. That silence becomes the grave of attraction. Type Amen to get blessing 2323. She loses attraction when she feels like she is carrying the marriage alone. A wife wants partnership, not to feel like she is both the wife and the husband. When she feels unsupported, her admiration disappears. Broken communication widens the gap. If he answers with silence, dismisses her voice, or responds with anger, she feels unvalued. Over time, her desire to connect fades completely. Another reason is emotional immaturity. If a husband refuses to take accountability, avoids responsibility, or behaves childishly, she cannot admire him. And without admiration, her love turns cold. Archangel Michael says, "The strength of a man is not just in his body, but in his consistency, his words, and his actions." A woman is drawn to a man who protects, provides, and respects. When this is missing, attraction cannot survive. Type Amen to get blessing 2424. Many wives lose attraction when intimacy becomes obligation. She does not want to feel like a task on a checklist. She wants to feel wanted, cherished, and desired with passion. She drifts away when romance vanishes. Even a simple note, a small surprise, or a gentle touch keeps love alive. Without these, marriage feels like duty instead of devotion. Another hidden truth is neglecting spiritual connection. A wife often desires a man who leads with wisdom and inner strength. If he has no depth, she feels she cannot follow. She also loses attraction when disrespect becomes normal. If her husband mocks her, belittles her, or treats her voice as unworthy, her spirit closes its doors. Once closed, attraction is gone. Type Amen to get blessing 2525. Archangel Michael says, "Attraction in marriage is like a flame, if not protected, it flickers until it disappears." Too many men forget this truth, thinking once love is secured, it will last forever. But love without effort becomes a shadow of what it once was. A wife begins to lose attraction when she feels emotionally starved. She may not complain loudly, but her heart feels the absence of affection. This silent emptiness grows until she no longer feels drawn to him. She also loses attraction when her husband stops being her safe space. If she cannot share her fears, dreams, or secrets without being dismissed, she learns to keep them inside. And each unspoken word is another step away from love. Over time, she begins to change. Her eyes no longer light up when he enters the room. Her smile becomes forced, her laughter disappears, and her attraction fades into quiet distance. Type Amen to get blessing 2626. One major reason wives lose attraction is lack of appreciation. She works, she sacrifices, she gives her best, yet when these efforts go unnoticed, her heart hardens. Gratitude is fuel for love, and without it, she runs dry. Another reason is broken promises. Every time he says he will change but does not, every time he swears he will do something but fails, her trust weakens. And without trust, attraction cannot live. She also loses attraction when he no longer takes care of himself. His health, his appearance, his discipline, if neglected, she feels the man she once admired has disappeared. That feeling drains her desire. Archangel Michael says, a wife does not stop loving in one moment, it is built up over years of neglect. The tragedy is not sudden heartbreak but the quiet death of attraction. This message is here so you can see before it's too late. Type Amen to get blessing 2727. When a husband ignores intimacy beyond the physical, her heart suffers. She wants tenderness, gentle touches, and emotional closeness, not just routine encounters. When passion dies, attraction dies too. A wife also begins to lose attraction when communication breaks. If every talk ends in arguments, dismissal, or silence, she feels unwanted. And when she feels unwanted, desire disappears. She loses attraction when there is no growth. A stagnant man, without ambition or purpose, no longer inspires her. A woman is drawn to progress, not complacency. When anger rules the home, attraction dies instantly. A woman cannot desire the one who frightens her. She longs for peace, not fear. Type Amen to get blessing 2828. Another silent destroyer is lack of effort in romance. Even the smallest gestures, a flower, a note, a smile, remind her she is loved. Without them, she feels forgotten. She also loses attraction when criticism replaces encouragement. Constant correction and harsh words push her away. She needs her husband to be her biggest supporter, not her greatest critic. A wife feels unloved when her husband no longer pursues her. In the beginning, he chased her with devotion, but when that ends, she feels abandoned. That abandonment turns love cold. Archangel Michael says, attraction survives only when fed daily. Love is not an achievement but a responsibility. Without nurturing, it fades into nothing. Type Amen to get blessing 2929. When a husband disrespects her boundaries, her spirit withdraws. She cannot stay attracted to a man who ignores her feelings or invades her space. Respect is the root of desire. She also loses attraction when laughter dies. Shared joy builds closeness, but when every day feels heavy and joyless, she begins to drift. A woman's heart cannot bloom in sadness. When her husband neglects emotional depth, she feels alone. She doesn't want only material support, she wants connection. Without connection, she sees no reason to stay close. And when unresolved conflicts pile up, resentment poisons her heart. Each unsolved fight creates another wall between them. Soon, she feels like she is living with a stranger. Type Amen to get blessing 3030. Archangel Michael says, a woman's attraction is like a delicate garden, it flourishes when nurtured but withers when ignored. Many husbands fail to see this until the silence between them becomes unbearable. By then, the wife has already shut her heart. She loses attraction when affection turns into routine. The kisses become empty, the hugs become mechanical, and the words, "I love you," are said without emotion. What once sparked fire now feels hollow. A wife also drifts away when her husband no longer protects her emotional safety. If he raises his voice, mocks her tears, or makes her feel small, her spirit closes. Attraction cannot survive in a place of fear. Another truth is when he stops investing time in her. Time is proof of love, and when she feels neglected, she believes she no longer matters. That belief kills desire. Type Amen to get blessing 3131. She begins to lose attraction when intimacy is rushed. She does not want speed, she wants presence, tenderness, and devotion. Without these, she feels used instead of loved. When her husband becomes lazy in the relationship, her respect fades. She cannot admire a man who has no drive, no vision, and no effort to keep the fire alive. A stagnant spirit repels her. She also loses attraction when joy is replaced by constant stress. If every day feels like a battlefield of arguments, bills, and complaints, her heart grows weary. Weariness kills affection faster than distance. Archangel Michael says, "The strength of marriage lies not in perfection but in effort. Where there is no effort, there is no flame. And without flame, attraction dies." Type Amen to get blessing 3232. A wife loses attraction when her husband becomes careless with his words. Sharp tones, insults, or indifference pierce her heart like arrows. Those wounds never truly heal. She also drifts when she feels her beauty no longer matters. A woman longs to be seen, to be admired, to be told she is still the one. Without this, she feels invisible. When her husband ignores her achievements, she feels unvalued. Whether in the home or outside, her efforts deserve recognition. Without acknowledgement, her pride in him fades. And when distance replaces closeness, attraction cannot survive. Silence becomes louder than words, and the home becomes a house without warmth. Type Amen to get blessing 3333. Another reason wives lose attraction is dishonesty. Even small lies create cracks in trust. Once trust is broken, desire cannot breathe. She also drifts when her husband carries bitterness. If he is angry at life, work, or others and brings that negativity home, she feels the weight. That heaviness suffocates her love. When he stops being present in the little moments, she notices. He may be in the same room, but his attention is elsewhere. Presence is love, and without it, attraction fades. Archangel Michael says, "Love is a daily choice." Attraction does not die overnight, it dies every time effort is withheld, every time care is forgotten. This message is your warning. Type Amen to get blessing 3434. She loses attraction when there is no spiritual or emotional connection. A wife needs to feel that her husband's soul is tied to hers. Without that bond, marriage becomes empty. Another truth is when he belittles her in front of others. Respect in private means little if humiliation exists in public. That shame kills her admiration. When he does not keep his word, she feels unsafe. A man who breaks promises weakens her trust. And once trust weakens, attraction crumbles. She also drifts when romance is treated as unnecessary. She may never say it, but her heart aches for effort. Without effort, desire dies. Type Amen to get blessing 3535. Archangel Michael says, "There is a point where silence speaks louder than words." When a wife no longer complains, no longer argues, and no longer reaches out, it means her attraction has already faded. That is the silent danger many husbands fail to notice until the marriage feels lifeless. She loses attraction when her husband stops making her feel special. In the beginning, she was his treasure, his priority, his joy. But when that energy disappears, she feels like just another responsibility. Another reason is emotional abandonment. If she cries in secret and he does not see, if she struggles and he does not ask, she feels invisible. Invisible hearts cannot stay connected. She also drifts away when intimacy loses its emotional foundation. For a woman, closeness is more than the physical, it is about being cherished, adored, and emotionally understood. Without that, her body shuts down along with her heart. Type Amen to get blessing 3636. A wife begins to lose attraction when she feels taken for granted. If every sacrifice she makes is treated as normal instead of appreciated, she feels unworthy. That unworthiness poisons her love. She also loses attraction when her husband chooses pride over apology. Every conflict left unresolved creates another wall between them. A wall of silence always kills desire. When he stops being her partner in life, she feels abandoned. She does not want to carry all the burdens alone, she wants to share them. Loneliness inside a marriage is the heaviest pain. Archangel Michael says, "Love survives not by luck but by constant tending." The greatest mistake is believing love will remain without effort. Attraction fades in the absence of daily devotion. Type Amen to get blessing 3737. Another reason is lack of admiration. A woman is drawn to a man she can respect, a man who leads with strength and wisdom. When she sees weakness in responsibility, her desire weakens. She also loses attraction when he stops listening. If she shares her feelings but is met with indifference or distraction, she feels her words carry no weight. That silence cuts deeper than anger. A wife drifts when her husband is emotionally closed. She wants to know his fears, his dreams, his battles, but when he shuts her out, she feels like a stranger beside him. That distance grows into loss of attraction. And when consistency disappears, trust fades. She cannot admire a man who is unpredictable in his love. Inconsistency always kills affection. Type Amen to get blessing 3838. A woman loses attraction when joy no longer lives in the marriage. Shared laughter is medicine for the soul, and without it, love feels heavy. Heavy love soon turns into no love at all. She also drifts when she feels her husband does not notice her changes. When she grows, learns, or evolves, she wants him to see and celebrate it. If he does not, she feels alone in her journey. Another hidden truth is neglect of intimacy outside the bedroom. Holding hands, looking into her eyes, and small gestures of care matter deeply. Without these, passion dries up. Archangel Michael says, "You cannot expect attraction to survive on memories. It must be renewed daily with effort, care, and consistency. Without that, the flame dies slowly until it is too late." Type Amen to get blessing 3939. When arguments turn to disrespect, she loses attraction. A sharp tongue and cold treatment leave deep scars in her heart. Those scars are not forgotten. She also loses attraction when she feels her husband does not stand for her. If he allows others to disrespect her without defending her, she feels unprotected. Protection is love, and without it, desire disappears. Another silent killer is boredom. If life together feels dull and lifeless, her spirit seeks excitement elsewhere. She craves new experiences to feel alive again. And when he withdraws affection, she withdraws too. Soon, both live together but feel miles apart. Attraction cannot exist in that distance. Type Amen to get blessing 4040.